Wireless earbuds are a dime a dozen, and you can find a wide variety at nearly any price category. Some well-known audiophile companies have been making some headway into this market, and today we are taking a look at Final Audio's attempt. This is the ZE8000. This earbud costs between $250 and $350 depending on where you buy it. For that big chunk of change, what can Final Audio give us? Final Audio says that the 8000 is, quote, a flagship truly wireless stereo earbud. They claim it remasters music with 8K sound. Now tell me if you've ever heard of that before. This 8K sound is apparently achieved through software and hardware synergy. The company claims this was newly discovered, and frankly, it's probably just DSP. Final Audio claims that the 8K sound technology exceeds the achievement of transparency and delivers an unprecedented level of clarity. Boy, I do love it when companies make grandiose statements. You should visit Final Audio's website for details regarding the ZE8000's 8K sound. The company, in typical fashion, puts a huge amount of effort hyping their achievement. Regardless, the 8000 had 4 modes of active noise cancellation, touch controls, a fine-tuned volume step control, and a companion mobile application. The earbud supports SBC, AAC, and aptX. Sadly, we do not get LDAC integration, but the 8000 does have multi-port connection with the latest firmware. The 8000 does not have a sensor to auto start or stop playback. So if you're used to other wireless earbuds that pause your audio when you take one earbud out of your ears, you will be sorely disappointed with the 8000. The 8000 has a very large design, much larger than standard earbuds in the market. It is made of plastic but feels robust. The touch controls are located on the sticks, which jut out of the ears. While the 8000 is quite large, it is still fairly light. It sits comfortably within my ears and does have a secure fit. This nearly $300 earbud, I'm taking the average here, comes with a plastic charging case that slides open. It feels very light, and at first I thought it was made of flimsy materials. But as I discovered when I tried to flip open the lid instead of sliding it open, yeah, that was my fault, the case it's built quite well. Sadly, the case does not have wireless charging. Again, I'm trying to figure out why this is $350 MSRP. In the box, we get several silicone ear tips and a short USB-C charging cable. The ear tips are proprietary, so if none of them fit comfortably and form a good seal for you, then you are out of luck. To test the ZE8000, I used it with my Mac, PC, iPhone, and LG V30. I listened to my lossless FLAC files, streamed through Amazon Music HD and Spotify, watched movies and TV shows on YouTube and Netflix, and experimented with the various noise cancellation features. My sound impression was based on the earbud's default configuration without EQ or other alterations through the app, which we will talk about later. At the outset, I have to emphasize that you must use a secure fitting earbud from the ones included in the box. They are easy to take on and off. This is because an improperly fitting earbud on this IEM especially will result in a severe lack of bass. The 8000's ear tips caused some issue in this regard. I found a pair that fit really well and comfortably, but did not seal properly. The ear tips that did seem to seal better were much larger and more difficult to wear. Now, with proper ear tips, the 8000 has close to neutral sub-bass. Sub-bass is present, though not overwhelming, even excessively bassy tracks. For example, in Mountains by Hans Zimmer, there's a low rumble from the beginning that lingers throughout the track. The 8000 easily rendered this detail without letting it drown out the other instruments. It was similar to what I heard on the neutral Moondrop Quarks and Eco OH5. Transients, however, seemed a bit faster on the 8000 than on these other wired earbuds. Mid-bass is more prevalent than sub-bass on the 8000. It presents hard, impactful emphasis. Drum strikes are easily audible and clear, but not sharp or piercing. Drums sound like close-fitting thudding rather than sharp thwacking. Bass clarity is fairly obvious. In Irodori and Conquer, two drum-heavy tracks, the 8000 rendered the various instruments clearly and placed them throughout the soundstage. The mids is where the 8000 seems to shine. Vocals are always front and center, always ahead of instruments, and abundantly clear. However, this earbud also noticeably emphasizes vocal sibilance and grain. In Orla Gartland's song, Why Am I Like This, there's natural grain and sibilance mixed in. The 8000 emphasized both by 4 to 6 decibels in my estimation. However, the mid-syntrack instruments remained distinct and clear, and the backup singer near the end of this track was easily discernible. In Want You Back by Haim, the 8000 again confirmed that it noticeably emphasizes sibilance. The two backup vocalists in this track were crystal clear, one in either channel. When the instruments played at maximum, they sounded distant compared to the vocalists, which remained separate and, as I said, distinct. Treble on the 8000 seems to have a low treble emphasis, a more neutral mid-treble, and a noticeable but not sharp drop in upper treble. Brass and horns in Scherzo for X Strings, for example, were clear but not piercing. I could easily hear the various group sets, though not individual instruments. Compared to the Quarks and the OH5, the ZE8000 had marginally less energetic instruments in this track. In Flight from the City, the 8000 presented the piano and cello with clarity. Their distinct notes remained separate throughout the track. There's electric buzzing sound effects mixed in, and the 8000 was mostly able to render them. In Take 5 by the Dave Brubeck Quartet, the 8000 accurately separated all the instruments in their various positions on the soundstage. However, they all sounded distant, like I was listening from behind a thick bedsheet. The cymbals were the loudest instrument, slightly edging out the saxophone, which is supposed to be the principal element. Final Audio makes some claims about the detail ability of this earbud. I would not say it is an analytical sound signature. Instead, I think the 8000 renders above average detail and clarity, depending on the type of song that you're listening to. Bassy tracks, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of clarity out of this particular earbud. Tracks that focus more on the mids are probably going to get a little bit better detail retrieval on the 8000 than some other generic earbuds, including wireless earbuds and also wired earbuds from hi-fi companies. Twangs of guitar strings, multiple vocalists, gravelly natures of voices, gentle strumming, sharp intakes of breaths, all such details are patently obvious on the 8000. But gentle tapping on guitar bodies, or electric buzzing effects, or creaking of wood are not nearly as clear. For a more quantitative test, I listened to Kazuki's song New Light. I count the number of footsteps I can hear in the first 60 seconds. The first footstep, if you're following along, is at exactly 11 seconds. This is the sound I'm referring to. In this subjective test, I counted 9 to 10 footsteps on the 8000. Several of these sounds were a bit muffled, and I really had to concentrate to pick them up. For comparison, here's a sampling of other IEMs that went through the same test. The Blonde BL03 presents 5 to 6 footsteps, the Tin Hi-Fi T2, 7 to 8. The T2 Plus and Blonde BL05 each presents 6 to 7. The Heidi's MS2 presents 8 to 9. The Moondrop Starfield presents 6, and the Aria presents 7. As for soundstage, the 8000 has average soundstage. It is slightly wider than the Moondrop Aria and Starfield, but not nearly as wide as the Tin Hi-Fi T2. Overall, the ZE8000 has close to neutral bass, forward mids, and a fairly neutral mid-treble, but a noticeable drop in upper treble. Some might call this a warm-sounding IEM. I think that's just part of the story. In no way is the 8000 a bassy signature, nor is it treble happy, but the mids, particularly vocals, get a lot of attention. The ZE8000 application is called Final Connect. It's available for both iOS and Android. This app has some features. You get the typical ANC control there, a 4-band EQ, which we will talk about, the volume step activator, and the 8K sound mode. This is a quite limited feature set for a $350 MSRP product. The 4-band equalizer is a strange addition. It prevents users from fine-tuning the sound and locks them into Final Audio's narrow sound tuning. You can select among multiple frequencies under each of the 4 EQ knobs, but can apply just one adjustment. So under the bass knob, you can select sub, mid, or high bass, but all three cannot be adjusted at once. You're stuck with just one. That doesn't make any sense to me. This is one of the most counterintuitive EQ implementations I have seen in a very, very long time. There is no reason why anyone would use it because of its stunning limitations. And stunning, definitely in the wrong idea. The 8K sound does seem to make a slight difference, but I never experienced the 8K resolution that Final Audio talks about. There is no huge leap in sound quality from this mode, and it doesn't matter if you use MP3, FLAC, or some other mode of compressed audio. It's not as if suddenly things that I could not hear before became obvious, or that the songs or the audio I was listening to became more musical or theatrical. You can turn the 8K feature on and off on the fly, so feel free to experiment yourselves, but frankly, I did not see the point. The Final Audio app could be much more robust. The company should seriously consider adding at least a 10-band EQ, with each EQ frequency having the ability to be adjusted independently. I'm also not impressed with the 8K sound profile, like I said, as it really doesn't do anything revolutionary. After all, it's just DSP, right? I'll take an app that works, and at least the Final Audio app does that. It works. It could be much better, but it works. As for noise cancellation, I really did not think it was anything amazing. Apple's earbuds provide much more obvious cancellation. In fact, I would say most other earbuds in this price range offer better noise isolation. But the 8000 did not cause discomfort when I used it with noise cancellation activated, so maybe a gentler approach to ANC might please some users. The tap gesture input is okay. Keep in mind that there is a small area on the earbud stick that houses the gesture area, and that's directly in the middle. So if you do not tap in that specific spot, you will end up tapping repeatedly for simple commands. The tap input usually worked fine for me, but not always. For example, when I was trying to adjust volume on the right earbud, for whatever reason, the noise cancellation switched, which should not happen because that command is relegated to the left earbud. Ultimately, the app works and the gesture controls tap, tap, tap does work, as long as you're hitting in the correct spot every single time. $350 MSRP for a wireless earbud is pretty stunning. That's Apple territory, and I am no fan of Apple's ridiculous headphones and earbuds. So, if you're happy with more affordable options out there, like from Anker and other such similarly hi-fi companies, then I don't think the ZE8000 really will entice you, except if you think you might enjoy its sound signature, as narrowly defined as it is from Final Audio, because you can't really adjust it in their application. The 8000 doesn't have class-leading battery life. In my time with it, I got about 3 hours on a single charge, and I think that's pretty normal for other wireless earbuds I've used. I appreciate having the app, particularly with the hope that maybe Final Audio will add more features later, and the app seems stable, so there's that. The 8000 is quite comfortable for me. I had no trouble wearing it, and in fact no trouble connecting it to my various devices. The only issue I would say is with the ear tips. If you can't find one that actually does fit comfortably and seals sufficiently, then I think you're going to have some problems here. But Final Audio's sound signature may not be your cup of tea, after all. This is nowhere close to neutral. Mids are forward and vocals get all the attention. Treble is, as far as I can tell, emphasized in low treble and marginally rolled off in the upper treble. The 8000 has above average detail, but average soundstage. Ultimately, I'm having a hard time understanding where the $350 is going. While I have no problem with the ZE8000 sound signature, I also don't think you're getting $350 worth out of it. This product has features that many other wireless earbuds also have: touch control, ANC, and a charging case. But the thing is, in the cheaper price category, $150 and less, in some of those products you can find wireless charging with the case, better ANC, a fully robust integrated application for both iOS and Android, and quite a lot of other features. For example, being able to switch ear tips on the fly without having to resort to a proprietary system that you will have a hard time finding. In my view, the ZE8000 is a good product, but at a very steep price. I'm sure there are many out there who might very much enjoy the earbud and find total enjoyment at its cost. And then again, there will be many who balk at paying this much money for insufficient features. I think Follow Audio made a good attempt, and if the ZE8000 was around $150 maximum, I would say it's an excellent purchase even with its quirks. But at the current price, they really have to do better.